2, 1. All right, welcome into the virtual bar, a sober virtual bar attendee. Good for him, not so much for me, but that's good. That's what I'm here to do. And before I bring him in, of course, being the fuel for tonight's discussion for me, not for the GFY, which we'll let him explain what that means later. Garden Center manager will be a little Maker's Mark 46, but the French oaked. Don't really do a lot of Maker's Mark in my life, but great distillery to visit. Really cool property. Pretty intimate setting, so it's not as huge as people would think something like Maker's Mark is compared to like a Jim Beam or the Heaven Hill, Buffalo Trace, and all. So a really cool experience if you can get down there. The cool thing about the 46 version and now the French oak is, you know, it's still a 6-year bourbon. It's 94 proof, but they dump it and then they fill it back up and put toasted French oak barrel staves inside it. So the finishing thing has been going on for a while. Makers just does the thing where they put staves in the middle, so it's kind of the bourbon's all the way around it, whereas opposed to just sitting inside a barrel. All right, now if that makes sense to you, good. If it doesn't, just go pick some up and drink it. It tastes delicious. All right, anyway. All right, Mr. What is it? The Go Fuck Yourself Garden Center attendant. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, man? Yeah, I'm the professor of sorry,
We'll get it.
choking to death.
Cut. No.
The professor of GFY. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So yeah, like I said, just talking with you over the past couple months and kind of watching your progress from, you know, the weight loss, the sobriety, all those things. I think you've done a lot of really cool shit in the last year.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of changes.
Yeah, and you are you're a pretty good follow on Twitter as well. And I bring that up because someone hit me up, one of my friends was like, hey, where do you find all your guests or whatever? Because I don't think most people, regardless of what many on Twitter think, not everyone actually is on Twitter. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
I'm not on very much these days.
I'm not either, as much as I used to be or probably would want to be. I kind of like the fact that I can't for whatever reason at this moment. But yeah, so like I put out to her, I was like, look, these are just people I know, or I come across through Twitter or get introduced, and you know, I think they're interesting, and I think people would find them more interesting than just reading tweets, right? So that's why we have the Go Fuck Yourself Garden Center professor on tonight. So what? Where do I start, man? So let's start with the sobriety thing, because you share the same anniversary as Brink. Was he an inspiration, or was this just randomly happened?
Brink was,
Okay.
and Grandpa.
Grandpa, he's been here. Yeah.
I probably started drinking when I was 12.
Okay. Hey.
Got into the rum cabinet, and but no, I started, you know, high school like most people, and then it became more than a hobby. And then I would say it probably stunted a lot of progress. Definitely blunted my progress in the Army. I was that guy that was functional alcoholic, but weren't we all?
Yeah.
And then I got into my 40s, and I'm going back to school, and it just caused a lot of trouble and lost a lot of relationships, and it was really affecting my marriage and things like that. And I remember I'm going back to school, and I was taking a test, and we had gone out to dinner, and I had like 4 margaritas
before the test.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And I knew it forwards and backwards, but I was like, whatever. So I had like when I say 4 margaritas, I mean, you know, like the tall ones.
Yeah.
Like
the only way they come, right?
Like when you get a Dos Equis tall, like it comes
Yeah.
in like the big Dos Equis beer glasses. That's what these get. So I had 4 of those. And made.
And you were a bigger man then, though. Also.
Yeah, I was 300 and something pounds. I was almost 400 pounds.
Oh my god, damn! How tall are you?
6'3".
Okay, yeah, you're a big boy no matter what. So.
Yeah. But failed the test, got a 50, and I was just
Did you really? Wow.
I was just so pissed at myself because it was stupid and of totally avoidable. And I think I just had enough. And so I told my wife, I'm like, I'm done. She's like, with what? I'm like, drinking. I was like, I'm done. And she's just like, okay. But she was happy. She's been wanting me to quit for years. But
okay.
Yeah, the next day I signed up for a little program for accountability, and then I haven't drank since.
So was it easy for you to do, or you think it's just you realized it wasn't that big of a like a crutch as it maybe it was?
Um,
Some people can't quit, right? You know, I mean, it's
it
like an
was,
addiction.
yeah,
And everything
it
else.
was.
Yeah,
I would go through periods where I didn't. Like I would go with like a week or so, and
yeah,
then it would start with like I'd get a single tall boy, and then we'd start with a 6-pack, and it would start
yeah,
with a 12-pack, and then the next thing I'm into a 750, and then yeah, and then it would just cycle would stop and then start over. I think it was more like self-medication than
yeah.
anything.
Mm.
And once I finally started facing some of the issues that that I was self-medicating for, it got easier. And then when I realized what my relationship with alcohol was, and I think I just hit that point where I'm like, you know what, screw you, I'm done, we're out. And then once I really just stayed sober for a while, like all the inflammation started going away. I started
Yeah, yeah.
dropping weight, and then it kind of became about like more about the health, and then it just became about I really dig being sober. And yeah, this is week 75.
Coming up on Friday, right? That'll be
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So now, before you did the fitness kind of go along with the sobriety thing, or were you always just worked out? You just never really saw the progress that you've clearly, been doing now.
Yeah, well, when I was in my 20, being in your 40s, you can't get away with what you could into your 20s. And,
I'm working on that.
yeah, right. And so, like, when I got out of the Army and everything, I still ran, but like
Yeah.
I blew up, and then I got up to like 280. And for me, that 280 was freaking huge.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I got back in shape, and like I was running like 30 miles a week and deadlifting in the high fours and like all that stuff, and still drinking.
Yeah.
I was in good shape though. I mean, I was
Yeah.
in good shape. And then my 30s, I just stopped and just blew up after I got married. And
Dude, so why do you, because I'm not, it's only because it seems like a pattern with that, right? It's either people hit their 30s after the military, or they get married, and then it's like, why do you think that is? Like, it's just like you stop. I don't want to say it's like you stop trying, but do you think because you've kind of checked some blocks on things that you don't think it's necessary to maintain that? Or
I don't know. I just think because I mean we both gained weight and everything. Like we're both on this journey together. Like
yeah, that's awesome.
My wife is killing it, dude.
Yeah.
She's starting to get dealt.
There you go.
She crushes, man. She
That's
really
awesome.
crushes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I know like probably like with vets, and it's probably the same thing with athletes, is that you get used to a certain calorie intake.
Yeah.
But then your activity level is so
Right.
high that
Yeah.
it's fine. And then once it's over, you maintain that calorie.
Yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
that's a huge part of it, I think.
Yeah, so then you're in a huge surplus and your activity output sucks.
Yeah.
And so that coupled with age, coupled with, I don't know, you just focus on working and like I don't know, it just doesn't become a priority anymore. And then after we just had some difficulties trying to have kids and find out we weren't going to have kids, that was why we really just decided to get back in shape, because we were trying to have kids again.
Yeah.
And then that didn't work out. So now we're in the process of trying to adopt. So we're just trying to get
Good. That's awesome.
We're going to be older parents, so we're trying to be in as best shape as we can. So
hey, you get a 17-year-old, you got to just deal with them for 1 year and then just boot them out, right?
I
That's
know,
my
right?
daughter's 17, so it's like, tell her, hey, you got 6 months, let's go.
Yeah, I'm like, if we adopt a baby now, by the time they graduate high school, I'll be 60. So if we adopt a girl, I'm going on TRT when she's in high school.
Yeah. You need to start now, bro. You can't wait.
Now my levels are okay right now.
That's good.
By the time I'm 60, I'll probably need something.
Yeah. Because I don't know, because I 100% agree with kind of what you're saying. Definitely the calorie thing is for real. That's, I mean, you hear like linemen when they stop playing in the NFL and they instantly shrink. It's like, well, I don't need to eat 8,000, 10,000 calories a day anymore. And,
That's
I don't need, it really is, man. Man, there's a strong man. Who was it? Mark Hunt? You ever see that Mark Hunt? Do you know who Mark Hunt is?
Yeah.
He has that video. Yeah. He has a video from a few years ago where it's like, he shows you what he eats for a day to get like, I think 12,000 or 13,000 calories. And it's like, oh my God. Now, granted, the dude's 6'8" and he's like 400 pounds, but he's, he's not fat. I
was probably hitting like a solid 6 to 7 when I was hitting.
That's so crazy. That's so much food though.
Yeah, that's a lot of double IPAs, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of liquid calories because I see that with these.
You can get those calories in when you. That's why they always say don't drink your calories because it will get away from you so fast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I stick to this stuff. There's hardly anything in it.
Yeah.
Or wine, but
funny trick. Maker's Mark 46 was one of my rotation.
Yeah.
And now that you said they were doing it in the
French soda,
whiskey stays.
Yeah.
I used to do that because I used to home brew and I used to brew my own beer and I would do a bourbon barrel stout. Well, I would buy the French oak chips to do well, so I would mix the bag, like I'd take an empty bottle of Maker's Mark and then I would do a half and half so I was doing that years ago and I would do that with Wild Turkey 101.
Okay, so now that you said that, okay, go ahead.
And I would do that. I would let it sit for a couple months.
Yeah.
And that shit would taste like Weller.
Nice.
But
I was gonna say, if you really want to
pay $20 for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to, get back into making it and just, send it to me, that's fine. I'll accept that. That way, avoid the temptation. But you bring up Wild Turkey 101. So I think this was the last year I didn't do it because I knew I was getting ready to move. But usually every like 1st of November, my brother and I learned this trick from one of this little small distillery down in Southern California. But they take 2 whole vanilla beans, right? Like don't cut them, obviously, because that's just going to go everywhere. You drop 2 vanilla beans into a bottle or whatever, a calendar, whatever, you put it in and just let it sit. And then you remove those. Dude, that is just pure vanilla deliciousness. And I always did it with Wild Turkey 101 because the proof's high, but it's already good to start with. And then you mix it with that vanilla. It's so good.
If you do that and then do the French, because what's cool if you find a local homebrew store, they'll have all that stuff there and it's cheap. And so you just get a couple mason jars and you can just kind of play around and you start blending your own stuff. You start playing around. And then that's cool. Then you just get you a really fancy decanter once you find something that you like, and then you got your.
That's the word. Why did I say calendar? Colander is probably what I meant. I don't know. Decanter. That's what.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a night. It's one of those days.
And then you print off "There Will Be Bourbon" label, and then you just got your own.
See,
blend.
It's coming. Like, look, we have to hit some benchmarks here. Like, there's too many people that have products and they actually move them, but they also have significantly more followers than me. I got to hit some more numbers still before we start doing stuff like that. So. I just provide audible content, that's it. And there you go. If you want to watch the YouTube, you can watch me drink this stuff. But other than that, that's a great idea. I really wanted to do, because I don't know if you were still drinking when this stuff was going on or not, but distilleries, they figured out ways to make more money, obviously, because I think specifically to deal with how much they lose on the secondary market because of our 3-tiered system, right? So, when they sell something, they don't get any of that kickback from a $5,000 bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, right? They sell it, at the 23-year goes now for $3.29. So that's what they sell it to the distributor. And then, all that markup. So they started partnering with all these liquor stores and supermarkets and restaurants and all to do their own barrel programs and, single barrels and stuff like that. And they're really not that expensive. Like we've bought some in some of the bourbon groups that I've done before and when I was still out in California. And I would love to be able to do that, but it's just not as easy as it sounds.
It's not. And I get why they're doing that, just because they didn't want people getting screwed over and overpaying on their liquor. Yeah.
I mean, we put together a group, $10,000 for a barrel, that's nothing. And you get, depending on the age, between, 220, I think, to like 400 bottles that come out of that, and you can sell that. And even if you double the price on one of those, you're still not ripping people off, and you're getting obviously an original product, right? So something that your groups come together to get. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that and then slap this silly little logo on it, but And we're not there yet, you know. One of these
Yeah,
days. One of
that's
these
true.
days. I need to be able to walk into one of those distilleries and just be like, look, cash offer. Just let me get a barrel. All right. And then you guys bottle it. But yeah, that 3-tiered system, man, just ripping off Americans left and right. But whatever.
Yeah. So then you can do a black and white version of that, of your poster, and it'll say there will be whiskey.
I know. See, I
So you
screwed
could,
that up.
so you could do a rye.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Claude last week. I was like, man, I screwed this up when I thought about it because I got a whole, like, it's not pictured, but the whole bottom shelf is all ryes. And I'm like, well, I can't drink that stuff on here because then it's false advertisement, right? So, but there will be whiskey doesn't quite sound, in my opinion, as good as there will be bourbon.
True.
Either way, I just opened up the market. So whoever wants to be a competitor can start There Will Be Whiskey and you can.
Or since you're the host, you can drink whatever you damn well please.
I could, but then I don't want to be like, yeah, I got this rye tonight. And then someone's like,
Do it
that's
on
not a
Wednesdays.
bourbon.
Do it on Wednesdays.
Rye Wednesdays.
No, Whiskey Wednesday.
Whiskey Wednesday. Yeah.
There you
Supposed to do one tomorrow. Maybe. Well, I was going to do that Weller, that foolproof I got over there. I was going to do that for tomorrow. This I just randomly, I think I can't, where did I try that? I think I tried it in Colorado on my trek across America recently, moving here. And it was really, really good because I've always thought like a French oak, because I mean, with wine, I mean, most of our wines are like the high end stuff's finished in French oak and it's delicious, right? So I thought, that would be something good to do. Can't necessarily store it originally because then you can't call it bourbon, but I always figured the finishing part you could do with the toasting of it. I thought that would be cool because I think French oak is a little bit more sweeter when it gets down into the nerd side of it,
that's
all right,
that's the part I miss is the nerd stuff.
Yeah,
the science part of it.
Do you ever think about getting into it and just kind of making some NA stuff?
I thought about it, but
because that's a huge market, man.
Yeah, and there's people that can do it way better than me. And I was talking.
Well, especially with that attitude.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of calories laying around, and I don't really need 5 to 10 gallons of stuff sitting around.
Man, you peddle that stuff with all of our sober friends on Twitter, you'll be good, man.
Dude, I tell you, my wife asked me that. She's like, well, "Why don't you do that?" I'm like, "I would rather just go get a 6-pack on vacation and just let that stay on vacation."
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, like I hadn't had. This was last summer. And we were the whole family was on vacation and they were all having drinks. No big deal. I didn't care. I still don't. Didn't bother me. But I just asked if they had any non-alcoholic beer, and he said we've got Heineken 0. And I'm like, I was never a Heineken fan.
Yeah, I never was either.
But I was like, beggars can't be choosers. So I was like, I'll try one. And I looked at it, was like 50 calories, 0.0% alcohol, and that was probably the most delicious thing I'd had.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think the Heineken NA, because I had that in Afghanistan, is better than their actual
Really?
Yeah,
no shit. Now, if like Miller High Life can make it NA, we'll.
I think that's that might be the one company I don't think I've seen anything from in terms of an NA. I don't know if Miller's. I'm sure maybe they have. I just haven't seen it, but yeah.
But I know.
Or how about some OE? Yeah, Coors. Yeah. How about Coors on its own, like especially Coors Light is pretty much NA to begin with.
Pretty much. Well, he looked like Miller Lite.
Yeah.
And it's only like 90 calories.
Yeah, it's the only beer you can drink 30 of throughout a day and still be sober.
And be hydrated.
Exactly. Yeah, if you can get Old English to make an 8-ball worth of NA, then that's when you're good. You start getting the malt liquor down to 0.0%.
That's true. I was gonna say Mad Dog, but then that's just then you're just talking about Kool-Aid. So
yeah. I think that was some of the worst stuff I've ever had in my life.
The worst hangover, that's for sure.
Yeah, the worst hangover, I think, aside from anything tequila related, is definitely, I remember, was St. Ides Special Brew.
God, Adventures of the Class 6.
Yeah. Man, St. Ides Special Brew was like the one thing we could get in high school. And hopefully my daughter's not listening to this one, but yeah, we used to go to the beach and walk around with that stuff in like a 7-Eleven cup and mix it with a Slurpee and just walk around on the beach and just pass out on the beach because it's so hot and you got sugar drunkenness and then you just wake up like. But when you're that age, it doesn't really bother you. But man, if I tried that today, no, it's not good.
Yeah, I woke up in the front yard once with a empty bottle of Southern Comfort.
Yeah, I told Claude the story last week of how I woke up on a yard once. So
Yeah, I was like, why was I drinking Southern Comfort?
that'll do it.
It was
That
good.
and what's that? Seagram 7. I remember it's not even, it's just like the cheapest stuff that they add color to, man. It's rough on you. All right. So you mentioned, I honestly, I don't know if I didn't know this or if I just forgot this, because I'm looking at the bio you sent over, and it's like I didn't. And then you mentioned obviously when you were talking about why you quit, but when were you in? I didn't know you were in the Army.
Yeah, 99. I got out. I did 5 years, so got out like right at the beginning of 05, into 04. So got one early deployment in 03 to Iraq, and then
we might have seen each other.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet then.
Yeah.
And then I think the deployment after was when it really started getting.
Yeah, I remember I was telling us how like the insurgency you could kind of kick off was like November of 03, and then it just really picked up.
I knew it was going to happen
later. I think if anyone was there paying attention, could see it happening. You know, I've told that a million times with some of the decisions that were made from the civilian side, and you know, when you unemploy 500,000 soldiers and tell them they don't get any options. I mean, there's only one response.
What do you expect?
I just always would say, like, you know, what would just put yourself in that position and play worst case scenario in the United States. Someone comes over and, you know, takes over the United States and decides that, yeah, like the 2.5 million people in our military, you guys don't get to play anymore. And you don't get to have any say in the reformation of the new government. It's like, okay, well, what do you think you just created overnight?
Yeah, we had that. I was in the talk. I was a intel analyst, and so I was at.
You really were a nerd, huh?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I didn't fit in with those guys at all.
Were you hanging out with Dunlap? No, I'm just kidding. That's the first time I think I've ever.
I probably would have stuffed him in a trash can, to be honest with you.
Shave his head.
Yeah, I was hanging out with guys like Grandpa.
Yeah.
And I was line infantry guys. That's who I drank with. So
yeah.
So I was in like group level, and we were talking about this, and there's some high level brass in there. We were having that very conversation. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing we could ever do, and went through that whole line. And they're like, well, how do you know that would happen? I'm like, because that's what I would do.
Right. Yeah. Hey, do you remember that you're a soldier, sir?
Yeah.
Man, like, what do you think? What would you do?
Yeah. I'm like, if you guys came to my country and put me in that position, I'm fixing to do some hood rat shit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to string you out for as long as I can and bleed you to death.
Yeah.
And if you kill me, I got cousins.
Yeah.
You know, I got nephews that it's part of their culture that they have to avenge me, or they are looked at as pieces of shit. You know, and I was like, I have no idea what you're stepping into here.
Yeah.
And what they didn't know, like I knew that we were deploying like a year ahead of time, so all I did was study.
I did the same shit, man. That's awesome.
I studied Iraq. I made books. I made like, it was like 3-inch thick binders that no one read. And
that's awesome. Glad no one read it. That's great.
This is all.
Well, it's the same thing. They didn't listen to General Shinseki.
What am I doing here?
Yeah, your job is to prepare and provide the intel, and then the people that need to use it for decision making, they don't.
Yeah, I was like, feel like, well, the intel is always wrong. I'm like,
and I used to hear this so much. It's like, what are the one thing a commander needs to pay attention to? His two, and then when they added civil affairs into it, in terms of like, you know, the Met TC stuff, and adding the C at the end, it's like, but I need my two. I need to know what's going on. And it's like, okay, well, so you got a guy like yourself who prepares these things, and it just gets.
I'm over here like, yeah, I told you this shit like 3 months ago, and you finally decided to do something. It's old.
So how did that was there anybody remotely paying attention to you put in that position or putting that stuff out, or was it just really in one ear out the other?
But after that conversation, I spent the rest of my deployment filling sandbags and washing tents. I was no longer allowed to talk.
You gotta wonder, you really do, you know, because man, there's some really, really, really good people in the military. There really are, you know, but it's just you just really wonder how situations like that take place, knowing the cause and effect, right? Because I mean, like I said, you go back to General Shinseki, who was essentially forced to retire because he said there's no way you're going to occupy a country this size with just this amount of force.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
And like he saw it happening.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I don't think that's an issue we're going to solve tonight as much as I'd love to.
Government's stupid. That's it.
I just look back on that time. So, yeah. Just look back on that time, man. It's coming up like, damn, what is it? The invasion was what? It'll be 20 years on the 19th next week. It'll be 20 years. Yeah, 20 years next week. That blows my mind to think that was 20 years ago, man. Because literally, like, especially when you bring up stuff that you were doing or whatever, the same time, like I can literally walk in my mind the route from that fucking 20-minute walk to the shower tent and back. Like I could still see and feel like I'm doing it in the back of my mind, like it's happening right now. Or I can see, the walking over to our PX and watching this rocket above our head clip one of the buildings and almost blow up the Burger King, like stupid shit like that. You still remember clear as day, like it just happened yesterday. And that's going to be 20 years. That's just that blows my mind, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
And then I think about like, this is some of the crazy shit I think about. So I'm like, I want to go up next month to New York, where I went to school to play baseball before I joined the Army. And I want to watch one of these doubleheaders since they usually play doubleheaders on the weekends, right? I'm going to do that. And then I was thinking, like, man, so I was there 99 to 01. So most likely everyone that's going to be on that team playing probably wasn't born when I was there. And then when I was there in 99, 20 years before that was the fucking 70s. Like, dude, that's
it starts messing with your head.
It really does, man.
Yeah, I turned 43 last week, and so like I like 40 I didn't care
Happy
about.
birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I had like an existential crisis. I'm like,
really?
What am I doing here? Like, because like 40 I didn't care, 41, 42 I didn't care, and 43 is like, wait a minute. Because now I've got gray hair in my beard and
yeah, I'm starting to get that
stuff.
if I grow it out enough. There's like these little pieces. I'm like, oh, I'm just not gonna do that then. That's cool.
But
yours looks good though, because you can actually grow one. All I get is this and a neck. I can't do the whole beard thing.
But I'll say this, like at least on this birthday, I was like
you were sober,
sober and 11.5% body fat.
Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. Like,
pretty
your progress pictures are coming in pretty good. That's awesome, man.
I'm trying to hit that sub 10, man, but it's like I think I have like my set point is like 217. Because anytime I start creeping below 2 like I hit 216, I'm hungry all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing I started. Like I said, I was going to do this operation drop 20 pounds. Right. And I'm like at right around 12 or 13, depending on what time of day it is. And I don't know if I honestly can do the 20 without really getting to kind of what you said, because when I came back from Afghanistan in 14, like I was like 184 and just like shredded. But the trade-off to that was
like 130 and you're doing prison workouts.
So. Yeah. Well, that's right. Yeah. But like I feel like I'm 6 feet tall. I think like the best weight for me is probably right between 195 and 198. And I'm like at 199 ish right now. But yeah, like I was 210 when I started this. And then you talk about how you got up to what, 280 or 270. And you just really, I mean, that was me. Like I can go from 210 to 225 quick.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it, man. It's just because, I'm still doing all the fitness shit I'm doing. Like I never not do that. Right. That's always been something I've never slacked off on. But it's like you said, it's the diet, man. It's the calories, the stuff that you don't realize you do. And man, I can only imagine if I wasn't doing that stuff.
True. That's what, there's a guy that I like to watch. His name's Alan Roberts. And he's awesome. He's on Twitter. And he always says, he goes, it's the fucking food, people.
It is.
He used to be a power lifter, and now he quit power. He's like, he goes, everyone's like, oh, you're eating, you got to eat for your sport. He's like, no, I just found a sport that supported my binge eating. And so now he's not a power lifter. Now he's like 180 and like shredded, and like dude's like 52. I was like, I want to look like him.
I want that look back. It's just, I don't know if I can truly get there without giving up this, right? Because that's the easiest thing about being deployed is you don't get a choice, unless you seek it out and try shit. But for the most part, like when my last deployment, yeah, I could drop probably the first 2 weeks, you lose 10 pounds just right away because you're not drinking,
100%. Yeah, you're not drinking all the like sodas and alcohol.
Yeah,
and all
it's
that
all
stuff.
it's all that extra weight. It's definitely liquid based. Don't get me wrong, but
But you're also pounding water.
yeah,
And that's a huge part. Like I still like that was been a big help for me. Is like I'll drink between 160 to 200 ounces of water a day.
it's a ton of water. Well, you're a big boy, like I said.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Bigger. Well, you're bigger. You're not a big guy anymore. You're
But
fairly.
still.
You're a good sized man at this
220 at 6'3" is not too bad.
Yeah, no, you're a big guy, but you're not like a fat body anymore. So that's good.
Yeah, my wife, she's 5'4". She'll drink. Sorry.
Yeah, drink some water.
I'm having issues. I've been craving a dip lately.
No, yeah.
Yeah, because I quit nicotine like in 2018.
Oh wow! So that's creeping back into your head, huh?
Yeah, it's weird, and
that is weird.
Just random shit cravings coming up. So I packed a lip of a wig splitter.
Did you really? Oh,
shit.
Yeah. Someone's actually done that. That's crazy. How'd that taste?
I talk about it on Twitter all the time. You guys think I'm joking?
I did think you were joking. I was like, there's no way to. Because I always say that because do you remember the old MREs when they would put the freeze dried coffee in there?
Yeah, we used to pack that in our lip on when you had watch overnight. Yeah,
like I remember trying that once, and I was just like, that's I don't know. I can't remember if it was
Taster's Choice.
Taster's Choice. Dude, that stuff was potent.
Yeah, it was.
Freeze dried coffee. Dude, oh my God, that stuff.
You start getting a little sleepy. You got guard duty in the middle of the night. You get a little sleepy. You pack a lip of Taster's Choice, and it'll right your ship.
That and then were you still? You may not have been in for these. You might have missed. You might have just got out when they had the chocolate covered espresso beans.
Heard about
Sparks,
those.
I think they were, or some shit like that.
Heard about those. Yeah, I didn't have Rippets. I didn't have any of that shit.
Yeah, I don't think those are still around, but the Rippets, they're really not that special for whatever reason. People take this weird cult-like following to them. I think they're awful.
Oh, they're terrible.
But I mean, if that's the only thing you get for free as a energy drink and the DFAC, and the DFAC manager says you can take as many cans as you want, you do, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
which I always thought was weird. Like, so in 2015, the last deployment, we had to go to Camp Red Leg, which was in the United Arab Emirates, and really small camp. There's just a field artillery battalion, and then my dudes who are supporting them. And we go to the little dining tent, which is, the size of my apartment, and get whatever you want. Or conversely, if you're in like Camp Arif John in Kuwait with every possible amenity you could possibly think of, I have to go and stand before a dining facility first sergeant and sergeant major because one of my soldiers got more than one meat.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go defend them. This says you take as much fucking meat as you want. Like, really? Yeah. One meat, but they can have all the shitty carbs and shit that they want. But God forbid they have a second piece of chicken.
Yeah. What the I'd always look for the Haji with the Donner truck, the kebab truck.
And that stuff's so good,
dude. And then they're like, it's like $1 per, and it's like basically it's like with the pita bread and stuff. He was like making.
See, now you're speaking tacos. You're totally talking 03 right here, man.
Yeah, because, yeah. I'm like 6. Dude, give me 6.
Yeah, I remember that because we had a guy that would always he was able to get out and go get those things, and it'd be like what, like you said, like 50 cents or $1, and you come back with the thing. Well, I remember there was a guy that he would go out.
I would tip him 20 just so he'd come by our place.
I don't know where you guys were, but so there was the North Gate on Biap is where he would always go to get it. And then unfortunately, this led to a suicide bombing that may or may not have been influenced because of that. And then they shut that down and we never saw that or had that option again. But yeah, I just remember that food, man, was just, and that's why I love Middle East food still to this day. Like, I think it's the most delicious stuff. It's my favorite by far.
Dude, the seasonings are so good.
I'm spoiled right now. There's a Lebanese place where I work, and there's a Lebanese place literally right downstairs.
That's a good, because you're in Nova, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
That
yeah. So you've
Lebanese
got,
Taverna or whatever.
yeah, you've got all of that good.
Yeah. Then there's Kebab Palace
The,
down there. There's so much natural. It's just, it's,
the international stuff there.
yeah.
Like you probably got some bomb ass Thai restaurants around there.
Yeah.
Cause I lived in Fairfax
Okay. Yeah.
back
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Okay.
And my stepdad worked for an airlines there, and then so yeah, that's where I got exposed to Indian food and Thai food.
Love Indian food, man.
Like I to this day,
I cook butter chicken all the time now. Like I love that stuff. I'm actually pretty good at it now. So
chicken tikka is my
yes.
favorite, and naan bread,
Yeah.
so lion stout. Oh,
So
and
good.
yeah, there was a place when I lived in Charleston, South Carolina. There was an Indian restaurant there, and they were always like number one, like every year. There was like a handful of like Indian restaurants there, but they were just like, you could tell like they were like came from like a posh family, like posh Indian family. So it was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
upscale like
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah. It's like,
the guy, the husband that owned the place had no personality. The wife was the hostess. She was like awesome.
that's how this
But
Thai place I was just at when I was coming across the country. I stopped in Reno. I went to this Thai place, and man, the husband is just like a robot, and then his wife comes out like dressed to the nines in this white dress and white heels, and just I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And she was so like personable and just over attentive with the being a host. Yeah,
he's
like,
stressed out because she's spending all that money.
Yeah. So, and plus, I actually no, it wasn't Thai, it was Vietnamese. Yeah, and I love Vietnamese food, man. That stuff's so good.
Yeah, I like all that. It's just,
man, I just love food, but
yeah, me
it
too.
always seems to come back to Asia.
I've been on a Mexican food kick too. There's a place near me that we found that's like just a family place. And it's not your traditional number one. It's like the same menu, like no matter what restaurant you're in. Like this is like Mexican, and like actually, I go in, I'm like, I get like splurging is a splurge meal, so I got the chili chiles, and she's like, "You want an egg on top?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want an egg on top." Of
course, I wanted it.
And then she just kind of smiled, and my wife goes, "You're in the club."
Yeah, make it 2 eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who came up with just adding eggs to stuff, but that's one of the greatest inventions ever. It doesn't matter what it is, you add an egg.
I do it at home.
Yeah.
Like I'll cook a steak.
Steak and eggs.
Burger, egg.
Yeah,
I make tacos, egg. I eat breakfast tacos like every morning.
Yeah, I eat breakfast for dinner so many times.
Dude, that's huge, because it's especially like when we're hurting for calorie. Like if we splurge, like because we're both doing like calorie deficit. That is like Brenner is so good because it's so low. You can really make low calories because you're just talking about like some eggs, maybe a slice of bacon. One of our favorite, I'll do home fries.
Okay.
So I'll do Yukon Gold potatoes.
Yeah.
Because they're super low calorie. And so I'll slice them up like about a 1/4 inch thick. Just give them a little spritz of avocado oil and hit them with some Greek seasoning or some like Demps.
Yeah.
At like 350, 400 for 30 minutes, and then right in the oven, and then right when the buzzer dings, you go over there and you turn it on broil.
Throw some cheese on there.
Well, no, you just turn the light on and watch them, and they'll start bubbling, and then you just see it just kind of turn brown and bubble. Pull them out. They'll be crunchy on the outside, but it's like a cloud on the inside.
I think we're gonna have to do this weekend.
It's really good.
Yeah, my daughter's coming into town this weekend for a week, so we got a lot of cooking planned. But yeah, she loves. She's into so these potatoes I always do is kind of similar, but these are different types of potatoes. I am going to steal that. But
yeah,
what are those potatoes? The medley, the little
little purple, and
yeah. So cut those in half. I always do this. Cast iron skillet, right, with olive oil. 425 in the oven. Load them up with jalapenos, shallots. What else do I throw in there? Cilantro. And you can throw some garlic. I don't always do it, but you can throw like some whole garlic in there. And then you just
throw
do
a whole
that.
garlic and everything.
Yeah. Garlic. Like I said, I double or triple every garlic recipe anyway.
I just bought a huge bag from Sam's.
Yeah, I
garlic
did.
bulbs.
Yeah,
And half of them you open up, it'll start like the little green weenie sticking out.
just go plant it.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I've got a whole like raised bed full of them right now.
Yeah,
I guess I'm not buying garlic anymore.
Yeah, you just do that, and then if you want to add cheese in the last 5 minutes, but yeah, 30 minutes in the oven, 30 to 40 minutes. Man, those potatoes are just. And then like the other thing is, it starts to kind of almost candy the jalapenos.
Mm-hmm. So you could throw sprinkle some chorizo in there too.
Oh yeah, you can. It's a palate. Do whatever you want.
That's why when you start cooking, you start having fun with it.
Yeah.
And like Mexican food's good for that. Like I made chili Colorado for the first time the other day.
What's in that?
It's basically where you make like the chili sauce, and it's just chunks of meat. Basically, it's like chuck steak and chili sauce that you make with like the peppers and all that jazz.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's good. Just rice and some tortillas, man. It was
Yeah.
good.
That sounds good. This is going to turn into a cooking show. I like it.
Hell yeah.
I like where it's going. Yeah, because that does kind of lead into what I was going to ask you, because it says here you're a vegan disrespecter. I like that.
This is like the most miserable people on the planet. They're worse.
You think it's vegans?
They're worse than leftists.
Most of them are leftists.
That's true. It's because they have they can't think right.
Because they don't have enough protein
or
fat. Yeah.
Yeah, I said something. I was like, veganism is the Scientology of diets.
That's good.
And they're like,
that go over?
I was like, someone. It was, who was it? I think it was the guy that used to be Harambe Actual. It's Juan Epstein.
Yeah, I can't keep up with people's name changes.
And
I feel bad. I just really
I know him in real life.
Okay.
And come to find out,
he's a vegan. No, I'm
no. he was in a big fight with that person. But anyway, no. Come to find out, we met on Twitter, but then to come to find out, we knew a bunch of the same people.
That's pretty funny
in real life. So now like we hang out from time to time. But
that's cool.
Yeah, they're just dumb. They're just, I don't know, man. I feel bad for them. Like I've never seen people that need us. Like they'll say it's like, oh, your meat is murder, bro. I'm like, have you ever seen a soy field after it's been harvested? How many freaking vultures are flying around that son of a bitch? Because all the rabbits and everything that got killed. I said, I hope the souls of the animals that died for your soy bullshit haunt you in your dreams, and then I get blocked.
I didn't get blocked. I just don't understand like that. Like that's the default argument, is like something to have to do with animals.
Yeah, and I was like,
so, but it's okay as long as every other animal eats each other. But but if humans do it, then now all of a sudden it's a fucking problem.
Right? Because they were saying something like, well, why don't you kill your own animals? I'm like, I do kill my own animals. I was like, and that's when I went into this one thing. I was like, yeah, is somebody they showed the pig getting shot.
Yeah.
And someone in this one vegan was like, you would murder an innocent animal just for food. And I said,
was there a fucking trial that's supposed to take place?
And I said, what? And that's when I said about the, I hope those souls of the rabbits that died for your soy haunt you in your dreams. I said, yeah, I killed that pig. At least I had the damn decency to do it myself. And I was like, unlike you hire it out.
It's just it's a weird argument to begin with. Like, I don't understand why someone would actually, with a straight face, be like, oh, the meat is murder. It's like,
yeah, well, that's what I say.
You understand, like,
it's like, it's a religion. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, then why do you try to convert everybody? I'm like, I don't give a shit what you eat.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm not going to eat it. I'm like, I tried vegetarianism. At least they're halfway normal. They're just like, I just don't eat meat. I'm like, cool.
Yeah. Which I can't, like, I can respect.
Because they don't give a shit what you do.
True. You're right. There is a very good point.
Convert. It's like
that is a very good point.
It's like the joke about
you're about to make a CrossFit joke, aren't you? Yeah, I knew it. I'm not trying to convert anyone.
I know. I used to do CrossFit, so
I
It's
just
like
think it's
is
funny how it's,
the
people get
vegan
really
and
offended by CrossFit. It's still weird. It's like
I
25
still
years in and people are still
oh
like,
yeah, no, as far as the philosophy, it's great. It's when it
yeah.
became a sport and all
Yeah.
the
Well, that's
box.
the thing. Like, I mean, it's like anything else. Like, you can't look at the people who are at the top of anything and think that that's normal.
No,
Like,
and
you're,
it's cool to watch, and I
yeah,
respect those people. Like, holy shit! But it's
yeah.
like when
That's not normal.
it's
That's
when
not
your
the
low,
average class, right?
yeah, no, but it's when your local box started programming. I'm like, dude, you have a better percentage of going to the NFL than you do going to the freaking CrossFit games.
That's an excellent point.
It's like
Yeah.
let's just work out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an
I'm like,
excellent point.
yeah,
Because only,
you got soccer moms getting labrum tears. It's your programming.
yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with CrossFit. It's just
Yeah.
a lot of your box owners suck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that was the thing, like, you know, for the longest, CrossFit.com, the main site,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, they still do. They've always done it, but you know,
Yeah, workout of
the
the day.
workout of the day. And that was
Yeah.
what most gyms, when they started, you know, what the fuck's that word called? Franchising. Like, that's what they did. And then, like you said,
Yeah.
some of them got a little crazy because
Well,
they
dude,
had someone who was either close to being on a games level or was a regional level athlete, and they get an ego thing going on there. But you know, that's
Speaking
why
of,
so many people offer programming now, like
right,
legitimate. You know, the Fronings of the world, you have
right,
that are just banking because they offer so many different levels of programming too, and for
right.
so many different populations. And it's actually legit because the dude knows his shit, right?
Yeah, he does. He's
It's,
got a degree in
yeah, and
exercise science. He's
kinesiology and
not
all.
some 19-year-old kid that's got a level 1 cert thinking
Yeah.
he's a trainer.
That's true. Yeah, that is, you know, I do think CrossFit didn't help themselves with that because I remember doing my level 1 and I was like, all right, I learned a lot in 2 days, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know. Great for a source of income for the company. But yeah, no, I agree. And I think I understand exactly what you're saying when it comes to the vegan side of it. But it is weird though, because what's really, it's, I think it's working, man. Because why do I have to go into every especially Whole Foods, but why do I go into every grocery store and see like entire aisles and sections dedicated to these fucking people?
Because they're loud and obnoxious. And
No, but it's what I keep saying. It's like the
but
tyranny of the minority. You keep giving
here's the other
credence
thing.
and credibility to these people, and they don't deserve it.
Because they're also
Force them to start their own store. And just remember health food stores.
yeah, it's true.
Right? Not everybody goes to those, but if you want to get vitamins and shit, go to a health food store.
Well, also, I think the whole veganism thing.
Still so fucking
I'm gonna
dumb.
put on my tinfoil hat.
Yes. Oh, here we go.
I think it's an op.
It's an op. All right.
A is to see who's retarded or not. And then the ones that are that retarded, then they're weak as shit because they don't eat meat. And they have to buy food products because if they don't get some source of protein, they're going to die.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's
So,
the other thing. You've seen this. Have you seen like some of these
it's a
NFL?
product driven diet. It's perfect for corporatists.
Yeah. Well, but you've seen like some of these NFL players after the fact.
Yeah.
Who are like, yeah, I'm a fucking vegan. Like, no, you're fucking not. You didn't show up to the NFL 6'4", 300 pounds as a fucking vegan.
Yeah.
Now, you may be trying to play that stupid little game now, and that's probably why you're out of the fucking NFL.
Right.
Gerald McCoy. I'm just saying, that's not how you maximize athletic talent. It just isn't.
It's like, and there are some vegan bodybuilders and stuff, but I'm like,
That's different. That's a bodybuilder. That's not an athletic performer. Bodybuilders are probably, I would argue, some of the most unhealthy people on the planet. Just because they look good doesn't mean they're healthy.
100%. But I'm like, you have to eat an entire bag of planta protein powder just to exist. And I'm like, it is delicious, but you're not you can't be happy.
You can put sugar in anything and make it delicious.
Right. And I'm like, they're like, well, your blood work, your cholesterol, and I'm like, shut up.
No, my cholesterol is actually perfect because I eat fat and protein nonstop.
Yeah, mine's low as shit. And they're actually like, how is yours is low? Like both of them were low. Like the good and the bad were really low. And I'm like, and he was concerned about that. I'm like, well, okay, since I'm here and you've already drawn my blood, can we do a hormone test just to see? And he's like, why? I'm like, I'm just curious to see what my testosterone level is like, or what my other levels are like, and see if that might correlate to my cholesterol being low. He's like, why? I'm like, because maybe my body's using the cholesterol to make testosterone. I don't know. And so he tested it. My testosterone was like 750.
That's
He's like, what?
awesome.
He goes, what are you taking? I'm like, nothing, dude.
Food.
Yeah, I was like, food and deadlift.
I eat at the weight buffet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I was
one of
like,
my coolest things. That I had a sergeant major. He was a piece of shit, but he did say something cool. He's like, "Yeah, we'll go down to the weight pit, the weight petting zoo."
Yeah.
The weight petting zoo.
Hell, that's awesome.
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah, it's like deadlifts and steak, and that's it. And
yeah.
I don't drink, and I don't use tobacco, and I don't do a bunch of other crap. And he's like, cool.
Continue
He's-
mission. Charlie Mike, you're doing good.
Yeah, he's like, I wish I had more patients that did that. And I finally found a doctor that like works out and like
Yeah.
plays basketball and stuff. So he gets it.
It is weird though. Like I was just talking about this with my mom. She's a retired nurse. I guess my dad's current cardiologist is just like really overweight and chain smokes. And it's just like you would think the people who would take their own health seriously, the ones that are actually advising others, right? But it is kind of weird because you see that all the time in the medical world. It's just like some of these doctors just look awful.
Oh, it's like the doctor that I switched to him from. I quit going there because, dude, his height to weight ratio was all fucked up. And he's sitting there trying to say, I was 270 at the time, but I've lost 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Like you could sort of see my abs at 270.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you really got to get your weight down. I'm like, that's funny. I've lost 100 pounds so far, and I'm planning on losing like 70 more. He's like, oh, really? I'm like, how'd you do that? And I'm like, calorie
diet and
deficit.
Exercise.
Yeah, I'm like, calorie deficit and get off my ass.
The old-fashioned way. Yeah.
So basically, he has me explain it. This dude starts taking notes. He took notes for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, motherfucker, I should charge you.
Yeah, I'm about to say this isn't rocket surgery. It's not new. It's literally the oldest thing in the world. Is you literally
eat less, move more.
Yeah, I mean it's diet and exercise. You want to lose weight, you burn more calories than you take in. That's the magic button.
And what I always tell, like, people ask me, like, what workout do I need to do to lose weight? I'm like,
all of them.
I go less hand to mouth. Literally. Like, and then I'll explain it. I'm like, you don't want to base your weight loss on output. That's a bonus.
Yeah.
Treat it. I tell people to treat it like two separate journeys until you get to a certain point, and then they're so intertwined that your food literally affects your performance. And then I'm pretty stoked I'm actually at that point. So now they're kind of really intertwined. But when I first started, because the reason I say don't let your weight loss depend on your workouts, because if you get sick, if you go on vacation, you can't work out, you get hurt, especially if you're a bigger person and you lost an ankle or you're screwed.
Yep.
So focus on the calorie deficit. Your weight loss will come from there. Your bonus burn will come from physical activity, plus, trying to build muscle and everything like that. Then you'll get toned. Like, luckily, I don't look like a guy that lost 160 pounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's always that excess tissue, excess skin, all that shit. That's good, man. That's great.
Bit. I got
a
little bit.
You got good skin, bro.
Yeah, man. The hydration, bro.
Yeah.
But I think I didn't hit that point of no return.
It may help that you're big and you're clearly naturally athletic, so that I think is a plus, because
it's constantly moving too. Like,
yeah, you were never like a twig who just never had muscle mass to begin with and ballooned up, So
yeah, like when I ETS'd, I was 245 at 9% body fat.
Yeah, so you just went the wrong way for a bit, but you're clearly the type of individual who probably just carries a lot of size but not a lot of fat.
There's all them alcohol and baconators, bro.
Hey, the Baconator, man. I haven't like voluntarily had fast food in a really, really long time. Like, I don't think about it.
I don't either.
I'll go to In-N-Out when I was in California every once in a while, but not even for the food. I would just go to get, because I wanted a chocolate shake. Because I feel like they have the best shakes in the world out in In-N-Out. But yeah, I mean, because I would always rather make my own burgers, I think.
Well, that's the weird thing. Like, I'm so used to like 90-10 or 93-7 now.
Oh, I can't do that. No, I still have to.
It's weird.
Man.
It tastes like a steak burger.
I don't know. Like, so Harris Ranch out in California, 73.27.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. 73.27 is the way to go. If I could get a 50-50, I'd be happy.
Dude, the thing is, like, we went out and on her birthday, she wanted to go to this place called Jack's, and they have really good burgers. And we both got a burger, and they do the 73.20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tasted good, but let it kind of coat your mouth. And
yeah, definitely. It does.
And we were racing each other into the house because we had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, look, that is a fair thing, man. Like, fat will mess people up. And I tell you that story because this was
we call it getting a lube job.
Oh, God. This is like Valentine's or around the day before dinner last year. We went to this high-end steakhouse in San Francisco, and one of the appetizers was pig ears, which I've never had before. They were absolutely incredibly delicious, but apparently a lot of fat in those. Yeah, because like you said, as soon as I got home, man, that was the end of that night. It was bad.
Quick time march, man.
Oh my God, it was so bad, but it was so good. Like, it is true. Same thing, man. Like, I don't usually do a lot of, like, I don't really eat crab, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know this about this fucking, do you remember that dude, Jack's Ghost? That dude, did you remember that shit that went down with that fucking Anthony dude on Twitter? Went by Jack's Ghost. Anyway, when we were out there last summer, 2 summers ago. Anyway,
when you guys went to Vegas?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah. Well, so we had room
so
service.
Weird.
Dude, that's another story. So we had this room service 2 nights in a row where it was just all you could eat king crab and the butter. And I just remember, I don't do that. I don't really eat king crab. I don't really like, I mean, I love seafood, don't get me wrong. I try to avoid things that require physical labor, like king crab. You know, I can scallop shrimp all day, right? King crab, I got to crack shit. So anyway, that with the butter, dude, that was tough.
Yeah. It's like Neil Peart playing a cello in your guts.
I was just like, I can't do this, man. This food is amazing, but it's not gonna matter.
Yeah, and it's so rich. Yeah.
It's not gonna matter. Yeah. Fat'll definitely it'll get you. You gotta definitely moderate that stuff. Well, that's why I like to mix in some good ice cream, you know.
There you go.
That's the way to do it.
I've eliminated, like, I've been eating clean for so long. Here lately, I've been kind of slacked off a little bit. Like, for my birthday, I wanted fried chicken because I had
nothing wrong with that.
I had fried chicken in 2 years.
Oh, damn.
And I ate a box of fried chicken.
Hell yeah. Where'd you get it from?
Publix.
Okay. Publix does have some good ass fried chicken. I remember one thing I do remember from Florida is people used to go crazy over like Publix subs. I don't think they're that special. But the fried chicken, I will. Dude, the chicken fingers.
It's gotten better over the years.
Yeah.
But it's bomb right now. And
I'm not gonna lie, like, it's like if I could get some chicken fingers or some fried chicken from anywhere, it would be Popeyes.
I can't do Popeyes.
No,
there's a Bojangles right next door to the Publix, and I went with the Publix.
Okay, that's yeah, because I do remember my South Carolina days. You know, good old Bojangles. Yeah, Columbia. I think that was the first place I went after AIT. It was Bojangles.
Steak, egg, and cheese biscuit, baby.
That's so good. I want to get wait. All right, I know you got
salt, but the salt, like, I can't do the salt now. Like, everything tastes like salt now. If I eat out, I can't. I don't like eating out unless it's like.
See, but that's weird that you say that, because I would say, especially within the last few years, a lot of places went away from it because of that. So a lot of places you have to ask for salt after the fact because they're not seasoning it as much because of people's salt.
Yeah, local restaurants, I don't have that problem with. Like, we don't eat out often.
Okay, yeah.
But like I was like, man, I wonder if I still like I'll go back and eat stuff like that I used to like, and like I find that I don't even like it anymore. Like I got a biscuit from Bojangles, and I took one bite, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, it is true. Like you'd be surprised that when you go back and you eat things that you were used to, and
I'm like,
I
how
think
do
it's
I eat
because you.
this shit like every morning?
I think it's well, I would say this is my discussion with Claude, man. Like, I really respect that he just makes shit from scratch, and you don't get that's largely not what you're getting, man. You're getting so many preservatives and artificial bullshit, and it tastes good, but
Yeah, but
once you wean yourself off of that and you start eating real food again, and
that's
you
the
go
thing,
back,
because
man,
you
it's
taste you
it's night and day.
you taste all the bullshit.
Yeah,
You really can.
yeah.
And so there's like a Thai place. I pretty much is the only time I'll go eat out is if it's a place that I know can make something that I like that I can't make, or
Yeah,
they do it
good.
better than me.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. I
Like
like that.
there's a Thai restaurant that has a really good masaman curry or a rama, and it's just so good, dude, with the toasted peanuts and all that. Oh, so good.
I'm so excited. So when my daughter gets here Friday, we're gonna go down to this Lebanese place and get some chicken shawarma.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I love chicken. I can make it, but nothing. Not like these dudes are straight off. They're from Lebanon.
Yeah.
They do some good work, and it's probably the second best stuff I've had since. This is what's weird. I will say this: I had a lot of chicken shawarma in the Middle East. I had a ton of it, especially in Jordan. But for whatever reason, and I still have a picture of this. I'll email you this picture when I find it after we're done. But the chicken shawarma that was in, I don't remember the name of it, but it was in the food court in the what is it, the Queen Ali airport in Jordan, the fucking Jordanian airport. The chicken shawarma there, by far the best I've ever had in my life. I don't know why, but it was so good. It was so good. It's a fucking airport.
Yeah, I made some. It was ground turkey.
Okay.
And I learned this is don't get ground white turkey, because that's just
okay,
and that because it'll cook and it's like rubber. But if you just get regular old 93.7 Butterball ground turkey with the shawarma seasoning and the yogurt and all that, and you can make the kebabs with that and grill it, dude, it's not bad. It's not bad.
I just finally made my own a couple weeks ago. I made some lamb kebabs.
Yeah, with the ground turkey, because it's super low calorie. You can eat a whole lot of it. And I made like sprinkled the mint and like did the whole.
Yeah. See, that's what people need to understand. Like the key to any of that stuff is mint.
Dude.
Like just last night, I made lamb ragu. And I didn't have mint. The store didn't have mint, so I had to I use Italian parsley in a pinch because it's still at least kind of citrusy and light. But like mint is such an underrated ingredient. I don't know why we don't use it more here in the States.
It turns that shit up to 11.
It really does. It really, really does. I needed to ask you though, real quick, because I know you're close to time, and I don't want to keep you, and you got to go. But you say you're a post-libertarian. Now look, Grandpa, he says the Lolberts, and I think they're funny. My brother's got a lot of libertarian streak to him, but he gets like. I think he gets confused as to why I make fun of libertarians so much, but I do. I really make fun of them because, and this is my opinion, I don't know if you're going to agree, and maybe this is why you are post-libertarian. I just think it's kind of hard to take somebody who has no standards, no principles. They just want everybody to do whatever the fuck they want, and that's supposed to be taken serious as like a political party for 330 million people.
Yeah.
350 maybe. I just can't take them serious because no matter what, they don't have it. It goes back to, as much as I thought Ron Paul was great with a lot of things that he would say, I remember him being in the debates and they would ask him foreign policy questions. Be like, "Oh, it's the golden rule. You just treat people how you want them to treat you." I'm like, have you really? Like, is that really your? That's seeing this is where you lose the election.
Yeah,
that's not how the world works, bro.
Like, I think it would have been better if he teamed up with Ross Perot.
Yeah, well,
because Ross Perot was like, I'll just hire my own people and go over there and get them out.
Ross Perot was kind of something I brought up with fucking Claude last week. Is we're trying to talk about like a serious third party. I don't think we've had an election with one that remotely made an impact since Perot, and that was 31 years ago.
Yeah, check your DMs real quick.
Okay. So yeah, you're a post-libertarian. What does that mean exactly?
Um, well, I'd always been on the right, and then I just got to where I just couldn't stand.
I'm gonna send that. My brother just texted me too, so I'm about to send him this.
Hell yeah, and
I'm sending it.
I made that was a meme as a response to a libertarian.
It's
And like like just totally sick of Republican Party and stuff
oh
like
yeah,
that. And
yeah,
then
I
like
understand
when you really, especially being a Southerner, I think it's
that.
hilarious that all the people from the South are like Republican Party. I'm like, they started and they hated you. Do you not know what they did during Reconstruction? Lincoln was a piece of shit. And it's just starting to learn like our history and everything like that. And I'm like, so I started just looking for something else, and then I ended up starting a podcast called the Smoke Pit Story Time.
Is that still going on? Because I see that I've seen that name recently.
No.
Oh,
No.
is it still hosted somewhere? Is it up? Is it up?
Yeah, it's still up. Yeah, like
Mhm.
I interviewed Braxton and like all those guys.
Did you really? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Bring it
Also,
back, man. Shit, just
I
fucking, it's
thought
fun.
about
You
it.
don't have to do anything. Like
Yeah.
you were like, it's just
Also
do it for
interviewed
fun.
the guy, the libertarian that ran for Georgia.
Oh, nice.
The one who
How'd
Grandpa
that
got
go?
into it with.
How'd that go?
We were at the time we were cool, but
So no more, no mas.
well, no, I mean, I don't care that he works for Raytheon. I just don't think he should be trying to raise money
Oh wait, is
for
that the
the
dude that got
anti-war.
into it with fucking
Yeah,
Grandpa?
yeah.
This is where Murder Cult was founded.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit, yeah, that's pretty fucking funny. That's got to be the most ironic shit of all time.
Dude,
Can
and
you
see,
just like real quickly, can you give like a high level breakdown of what that situation was without getting too far into it so people won't know what the fuck you're talking about?
yeah, well, just okay, so it was incredibly gay. So
Ghey gay.
yeah, like
No
90s,
censors.
like 90s
Yeah.
gay, like man, this was gay.
Gay,
Um Gay.
gay.
And so I guess there was some guy that like burned his uniform or whatever, and
Classic.
Shane Murder Cult Hazel was like,
Shane Hazel, that's his name.
and then he was like, oh, you should do that, and and this, he was in the Marines and stuff like that, and I actually asked somebody who was in same, not same unit, but same special operations group. I was like, hey, do you know that guy? He's like, yeah, he's a douchebag. But so that's funny. But so Grandpa was like, I think it's a stupid idea, and blah blah blah. And so they started getting into it, and then Shane started going into the whole murder cult and blah blah blah. And I'm like, you're fucking up, bud. I'm like,
Not,
because
Grandpa's not the guy you want to start
no, I'm
trying to
like,
troll. He's
and
just
I actually
just
sent Shane that,
smarter than you.
yeah.
So it's gonna get.
And I was like, I messaged Shane like, dude, these guys are my friends, and they're not the kind of people you want to start shit with. He goes, blah, blah, I forget what he wrote back, but it was something stupid. I'm like, all right, you're on your own then. And then, the goons do what the goons do. And they're going to find out.
As goons do, yes.
They're going to find out everything about you. And
yeah.
he gave him like one, and I think he was going to go on Shane's podcast.
Let's go on his podcast.
Something. Yeah. And Shane had someone on there before that ended up like stolen valor thing, and like, cause I remember listening to that episode, I'm like, this guy sounds like he's full of shit. And it was like 5 minutes in, and I was like, okay. So then they ended up getting into it, and then they just bust him out like, hey, is this you? You still work for Raytheon? He goes, I don't work for Raytheon. He goes, yeah, but you work for a Raytheon subsidiary. Well, I just sell cameras. And so I called him. I'm like, dude. So we had like an hour conversation. I'm like, so you're raising money, running for office, doing your podcast, doing all this rah murder cult, war is bad, but you work for a company doing sales that sells FLIR equipment that you sell to infantry units. Well, it's just a camera for surveillance. I'm like, dude, you forget. I know what this shit is. I know what it's used for. I've used it.
Yeah, he thinks you don't know any
And I
better.
was like, it's for targeting, dummy. And I was like, you told me that you don't do that anymore. I was like, so basically you lied to my face and you're lying to a bunch of people and you're taking money from people. I was like, nah, cool. And so we haven't talked since. But
Murder cult.
But yeah, I ended up making a friend out of Grandpa during that. So that's
Yeah, that's so because what was it?
Fair trade.
Yeah, he was supposed to go on, but there was some weird qualifier.
He's like, I want to see your ID. And
Oh, that's right. It was like the bust anonymity or some shit for Grandpa, right? Something like that. Or
yeah, and I was like, well, I've been on your podcast. You didn't ask for my ID. I was like, I've been in your house and you didn't ask for my ID.
That's pretty weird. Yeah,
he just got super dorky and like
is he still around?
Oh yeah, he's still over there. Just I tuned in just to see what he's talking about. He's still on some bullshit, but
I guess he didn't win in Georgia, huh?
No, but he and then here's the thing. Oh, it's so annoying because he's the reason Warnock, because he took a bunch of votes away and like did all this stuff, and he's just there to show his ass. And like I honestly think a lot of libertarians like losing is what they really want, because then they never actually have to do anything or try to actually implement the crap that they say that they are about. And most of it's just a bunch of people that are mad at their dads. And who just, I mean, given the chance, they probably would wear like a backpack purse and cat ears. It's just ridiculous people.
It's hard to take serious, to be honest. That's why I said it's just,
no
principles, no standards, everything's fine. Everybody can do what they want. Like,
right. And that's
it doesn't work.
Well, what it really boils down to, and this is like, I did the podcast and I was like, I'm going to check out libertarianism. So I interviewed a lot of libertarians and stuff like that. Like the guy who I'm still friends with to this day is Pete Quinones. And he's got the Pete Quinones show and stuff like that. He's not a libertarian anymore either. And it's oh man, I lost my train of thought. Basically what it boils down to,
libertarianism.
Like with the Libertarian Party, with basically the best way I could explain it, it's Christianity without Christ. And it's like they try to have it is, when it was like the Austrians, when it was just an economic philosophy, great.
Yeah.
When we try to make it to a political philosophy, it's a religion with no God, with people that try to become their own gods and try to talk about this morality, but they have no source for the morality. So then it just becomes leftist touching kids. And then you get people arguing, yes, if the community agrees that a 12-year-old can have sex with a 35-year-old, then it's okay. I'm like,
well, and then that's where I come in and I fucking drone strike the community.
I mean, you just had that with like that Eliza Blue shit that went down on Twitter. She
disappeared pretty quick, huh? What happened?
Oh, I guess.
What happened? Like I missed.
I guess she's going to be runner up for in the running for the Grifties.
Like
because
what?
Apparently that turned out to be a bunch of bullshit. And then and again, she's all linked up with a bunch of libertarians. Because that whole video was what's that guy's name that does Renegade University?
Oh,
dude, he's a piece of shit. And then you had the other guy, Clint Russell, who's like, we call him. He blocked me a long time ago because I called him Malibu's least wanted, because he's like a 37-year-old wigger who can't rap but wants to rap all the time. Someone else called him Fed Durst.
Fed. I love Twitter.
Well, his parents were in like big time real estate finance in California, so he's got parents' money. Yeah, he's like, I retired at 32. I'm like, with your parents.
Can you really retire if you never had to work because your parents have money?
Fair question.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't give.
I don't have those problems, so I don't know.
I don't even care, man. I'm like, I
don't either. Good for you, man.
But like, I'm gonna make fun of you.
Yeah. So she's got like, because I was following her, like she showed up. I thought it was cool. I think I thought it was like a legit thing at first, and then
last time that she went on Tim Pool, I'm like,
I never watched any of that. Like, I'm not going to pretend to watch any of that stuff. I don't. I just know like she was all over my feed And then the next
Yeah.
minute she wasn't. And I haven't seen
Right.
her in months or
She
not
started
months,
talking about
weeks.
she's an advocate, and then like they would start asking her questions like, well, I can't talk about that, blah, blah, blah. She kept repeating this line, kept repeating
Oh,
this
she's
line.
like one of
I'm
those
like,
like my military service is classified type people.
yeah. And I'm like, this is sounding like bullshit. And I remember my friend texted me, was like, hey, did you watch did you listen to Temple? I'm like, yeah. He goes, what'd you think? I'm like, I think someone's about to get outed for being full of shit. He goes, that's what I was thinking. And then it came out.
But what came out? What?
Well, she said she's a survivor, and like
Yeah,
she was
yeah,
being
yeah.
trafficked, and like
Yeah.
she was trying to start, but she would never get specific of like what was happening. Would never like name names or whatever. Which I mean, I kind of get. But then she tried to start saying she was naming names. Like there was some video that she's like, yeah, I blah 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 blah. Well, it was like World Star Hip Hop, and they were like, we paid you for that video. You came to us trying to do the video, and like all this jazz, and like her dad's a politician, and like all this stuff. When you come to find out, she's a bunch of rich kids trying to earn street cred.
So she was never actually into human trafficking?
I don't know that for sure, but I know that she said when
Or was she a willing participant?
she said she was like representing people that were trafficked by Andrew Tate.
Okay, I did
Like,
vaguely remember seeing that.
yeah, and they were basically a bunch of people like, she's lying. I don't know.
What do you think, Frank?
I think Twitter's a weird place.
Frank, I'm going to create you a Twitter account, bro, so you can get on there and tweet to all your adoring kitty fans. Frank gets more questions than I do. I don't like it, but he deserves it. This very sweet cat. I don't know if you have a cat or not.
I'm allergic.
Are you? I was in high school. I remember,
Yeah.
like, I had a friend. I would always go over after school, and like it was probably like junior year. I'd go over and play NCAA football with her little brother, and they had cats. And man, I could only last like one game before my eyes would be closing. I'd be I'm like, Nicole, I gotta go home. But then over time, I'm good. Cool. I attribute it back to that moment. I'm like, I just had to experience it and expose myself, and now like
build up.
Yeah, I think that's all it was, because yeah, I've got this little dude. He's like the greatest cat in the world. He's super sweet and affectionate, and no issues with that. So I don't know. I feel like there is some of that with allergies. I think sometimes the more you expose yourself, not get me wrong, I'm not telling you to go kill yourself, but I think some things that we are allergic to, I think we can somewhat maybe overcome through exposure. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Or it gets worse.
Or yeah, that's why I said I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you to go, like, if you're allergic to, penicillin or something, to go inject it tonight. But
I take 2 Zyrtec every day.
Yeah, that's what I've been waiting on, because in California around this time, man,
pollen's high.
Oh my God, dude! Like I remember. So I moved to Roseville in 2016, which is like a northern suburb of Sacramento. And apparently, like, the allergies during the spring in Sacramento is like a real thing. It's like a running joke of like people will call out from work because of the pollen, right? Like, it's that bad. And I was like, man, it can't be that bad. Sure enough, it's that fucking bad. It's even. I thought it was even worse down in Napa where I was at, because man, once March hits, it's like you have to take something. And stuff there. You got to take something every day. I mean, what's this? But so yeah, okay. Well, real quick, I know like we're running up on time here, but you said we laughed about the Lolberts, but what does post-libertarian mean? What is that? As the pressure of
means it's kind of like being like a former addict, I guess. I don't know. I've just so
you're just you're politically homeless.
Yeah, because
living under a bridge in a tent.
Well, I'm like, I guess I could say I'm conservative, but not in like the traditional conservative. Like,
yeah, I think most people in our ilk are that way.
Like, I think all those people are too far left. Like, I'm pretty, I guess, far right, but at the same time.
Yeah, but the party for the right doesn't do anything for us.
No, they're leftists.
I don't even think the party for the I think if you went and talked to a lot of Now, don't get me wrong. I think the Democrats do political cohesion way better than the Republicans do.
Well,
Like they'll unify behind any dumb shit that their party wants. But for overall, I would say if you go talk to a leftist, I don't think they're happy with their Democratic Party. Just like we're not happy with the Republican Party.
Oh yeah, like if you talk with like somebody in Walmart, yeah, they're like, "Oh, this is terrible." Like we find out that we end up agreeing more on day out shit. But it's like the Republican Party, they're for what the Democrat Party abandoned like 4 years ago.
Yeah, 40 exactly, not 44.
Mm-hmm.
And no, you're right. That's a good point. Yeah, it really is wild. Like to go back and just go back and pick Washington Post, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, whatever. Pick one of those publications and just go back into their archives and just read the shit they used to write about in the 80s.
Same shit.
It was blunt, dude.
Yeah.
It was blunt. It was long form. It was well researched.
Yes.
It was amazing, actually.
It was actual journalism.
Yeah. And now we don't do that because we're so lazy with the internet that it's just like, let's just keep hitting refresh and we'll pick and pull pieces from the AP or we'll file something and we'll put a piece together. It's like they don't even do journalism anymore. That's everything.
Yeah.
Sports, news, politics, pick up finance.
When the smartphone hit, that just
made everybody dumb.
Dude, I tell you, that's when it went down. Because everything was accessible.
Man, I just talked about this because like you ever seen the movie The Pentagon Wars?
Mm-mm.
Highly recommend it, right? Kelsey Grammer,
okay.
Carrie Hughes or whatever. It's from the night like
Elwes.
Yeah, that guy. 98.
You know he's British.
Is he really? No.
Yes.
All these British dudes. What the fuck?
For
they do
real.
English better than I do. Their stupid little accents. They're really good. Yeah.
It was fun. What tripped me out. Remember that show Strike Back?
No, I don't know.
It was like on Cinemax or whatever.
Oh no.
Like the British special operations type thing.
Oh well, you lose me there. So
well, it was cool. There was a guy that was played a Delta Force guy. Who was an American Delta Force guy. Well, the actor is Australian.
Of course.
Would have never guessed it.
Never would have guessed it, right?
The main British guy's from freaking Milwaukee. I thought he was British.
So they easily could have just swapped.
Dude, he was so good. Like his British act, and he looked British too. But it was a good show. It's guns and boobs, basically.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, no, the Pentagon Wars, right? It's a movie. It's on HBO. You can stream it. I don't know why I was going to tell you to watch it. What the fuck were we talking about?
I don't know.
Pentagon Wars. Have you ever seen it? No. Here's why you need to see it.
And then I sidetracked you.
You did. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just trying to think of what led to it. We were talking about libertarians, the right, the left. What did we say about Republicans just now?
Oh, they're for.
Oh no, we were talking about journalism. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
okay, got it. Yeah, so that movie is based off of Colonel Burton, who was an Air Force colonel assigned to the Bradley Project, and he was all about trying to find a report to present about its effectiveness. And then it goes into all of like the people involved in the Bradley and how they kind of tried to like thwart this guy's study. And it shows the evolution of like the Bradley. It's supposed to be an armored personnel carrier and how it turned into what it is today, right? Which is essentially a tank. It doesn't have the armor to be a tank. It's too exposed to be a scout vehicle. It's just it's just there, right?
The only thing good on a Bradley is the gun.
Right. But when you see how this started, it was never supposed to have any of that shit.
Yeah.
It's been halved into its personnel carrying capability, like shows the evolution of it, whatever. So this movie is about this, and this Colonel Burton, like he writes this book called The Pentagon Wars, the real book, real movie, everything happened. But I went back and looked at it because when his actual article came out, there's a Washington Post article covering it from 1986. I went and read, and it's thousands of words. Like it was a probably at least 20, 25 minute read. I was like, holy shit. It's literally the movie. Like if you watch that movie first and then you go and research this Washington Post article, you're like, that actually fucking happened. But I only bring that up because it was like a huge, blunt, honest, investigative report about the Pentagon from the Washington Post.
Mhm.
Shit you just don't see anymore, man.
And now they're just a PR campaign or PR firm for politicians.
Depending on what fucking letter you got next to your name, you know what outlet to go to, right?
Yeah, and it's all bullshit.
Yeah, it's not real. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I've said this
it's like-
before. Like Fox and CN or MSNBC, they started the same year.
Yeah. Well, it's like I don't even care for-
96.
I don't even care for Tucker that much.
I don't watch any of it, man. Like people,
Yeah.
they put so much stock into that. I'm like, you think what? He's the one guy that's not being a fucking entertainer? Like, come on.
Yeah, I'm like, look at who.
Just
his
because
dad
he's
is.
good at it doesn't mean he's not a fucking entertainer.
Ask it. Find out. Look into who his dad was.
Who was his dad?
He was into some shit.
Well, no, you have to
just
tell
like
us
just
now.
like most of these journalists whose parents were in the
Yeah, like
CIA.
Rob Whitten did expose that one person. God, what was that dude's name? Was it Matt? Matt something. The floof guy. He did a bunch of shit, gotten some attention a few months back, which was great because he had just been on my podcast and he was like the most watched ever. That was so hilarious.
I was the guy, Claire Foster, MD, who is funny because it's a satire account. it's a guy's like 20-something years old, but he pretends to be some boomer leftist on Twitter, and he gets so many people. It's so funny. It's so funny.
I see. I've always thought about I thought accounts
It'll
like
get
that would
me,
be
and I know
fun.
it's fake.
Yeah, like I just don't think I would have the energy to try and maintain something like that.
It's been years. It got named in the Twitter files.
Oh my God.
Like the FBI and shit was like talking about that. I'm like, it's a joke account.
That's the problem
man.
is like the people responsible, they have no idea what they're getting themselves into because they don't know anything. They're not trolls. You have to hire trolls.
Yeah. Well, it's just like,
Or else you can't spot when you're being trolled.
Dude, because these people have no self-awareness.
You hire a bunch of 55-year-old career FBI agents. You think they're gonna figure this shit out? No.
No. Well, they might. Well, the old guys might figure it out more than these freaking nerds that they're hiring from these Ivy League schools.
That's probably true.
these
That's probably a very good point.
It's like, you ever met anybody that worked at the State Department?
One.
Most of them are insufferable. God, it's like,
Well,
literally, have you ever been punched in the face before? But yeah, shit, I forgot what I was gonna say.
And you're not even drinking. That's the best part about this show is you start talking.
I'm exhausted. That's my problem.
Yeah, no, that's great. You get an hour and a half in, and you start forgetting shit. You get delirious. It's great. You're yawning.
I get up at 4.
Ooh, all right. What time zone you in?
I'm EST.
Okay, and you're getting up at 4 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to get you out of here then.
Every day.
Yeah. All right, let's get you out of here. All right, that is Mr. Post-Libertarian professor at the Go Fuck Yourself Garden Center. You can follow him on Twitter at what account?
That's Johnny Tyler of Carolina.
Is that the whole at?
No, the at is GFY Garden Center.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
So the other stuff, I was about to say, wait a minute, is that your at Johnny Tyler of Carolina?
No, that's just the name.
Okay, so at GFY
Yeah
Garden Center. How'd you come up with that?
It was just because you know the guy GFY Industries on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I was just goofing around. My last account got nuked.
What was your last account?
Vet Archist OG.
It never came back with the Musk?
Dead still, dude.
Dead, huh? Damn.
No.
Good work.
Well, I criticize people you can't criticize.
Yeah.
And dude, I was like, I said what I said. I was like, I was bored. I'm like, I wonder what would get me perma-banned. And it wasn't what I said wasn't even that bad. And I posted it in 10 seconds. It was done.
Damn, that quick?
Done. Yeah.
Responsive.
Yeah.
You should try it again with your new account, see if it works again.
No.
All right, so that's him. He's at GFY Garden Center on Twitter. Follow that man. And you should follow myself. It's at Eric PWBB. I mean, not that you'd be seeing this and not be on Twitter following me, but just in case you're not. All right, brother. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, man. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah,
Good,
absolutely.
good talking to you, dude.